Introducing my homemade fishing lure. Let's see if this poor excuse for a lure can catch something. If so, I'm never paying for an expensive one again. For my very first crankbait, I was inspired by this little Amazon lure. It came in a package of 5 with different colors. It definitely catches fish, and I thought, as I always do, I bet I could make that. My painting skills are weak, so I knew another challenge would be to see if my ugly lure could still catch fish. So not wanting to spend any money on materials, I just found a scrap piece of wood, cut it to size, a little bit bigger than what I was going to use, and then drew the design. Pretty rough, I know. All I had was a utility knife, so I decided to do some of the carving with that to start. And to get some final shaping, I used my Dremel to sand it into shape. Now I needed to get the line and the hook ties in there, so I just had to cut down about halfway, and of course not too straight, but we'll see if that affects anything. Get my galvanized wire in there to help resist corrosion. Bend it into shape. And that roughly fits there. Now to fill it, I've seen people use super glue and baking soda, and apparently that combination of super glue and baking soda create a very hard plastic-like material. Just have to be careful not to get that super glue on your fingers, or else you're stuck to your lure. So once it dries, it is rock hard. Now on the underside of the lure, just so the lure actually sits a certain way, I added a lead split shot. And to fill in that hole, same thing, some super glue and baking soda. And finally pulling out that Dremel to smooth everything over and getting everything looking good. As I didn't have a piece of plastic that would serve as a lip, I decided to use a small piece of aluminum and sanded it really well to make sure that the edges were smooth and would not cut through the line. And I painted it into a ladybug. And in order to protect the paint, as I used water-soluble paint, I encased it in some more super glue. Alright, so this one has been a failure so far, but gotten some bites on it, just not a fish sticking to it, so we'll keep trying it one day. It'll work. Well, back to the drawing board, and I decided to go with a different profile, but basically the same process where I draw it out, trim it out. A little bit more narrow, so it's harder to do this. Form the ends for the line and the hook. Drill out the bottom for a small weight. And this time I decided to use this really cool silver metal and gold metal. It looks really shiny. I thought, well, heck, that looks way more appealing. Even my paint job wasn't so bad. Until I put on the clear coat. And unfortunately with this type of paint, as soon as you put on clear coat, it dulls it to nothing. So it was pretty gruesome. In the end, I used some glitter glue, actually, to add a bit of sparkle to it. Let's go see if this really old, ugly-looking bait can catch anything. This is my homemade lure here. This little silver guy with silver glitter glue, green glitter glue. Wow, that's a big chub. It's a pretty big one. It's a good like 6 inches or so at least. I know it's like not huge, but it's big for this area. And yeah, wow, the lures work. Oh yeah, that's my lure. Yep, these, I think, whatever, these love this bait, my bait. Oh, it actually works, I can't believe it. Good action, We'll let this one go, of course. And man, it choked all the treble hooks. So we'll see how we get this one off. Now the gold one had the same fate with the paint. As soon as I put a clear coat on it, it went dull as anything. Fortunately, I did lose this bait in the end, but it was a wonderful little bait. I like this shape, and it seemed to catch a few more of the fish. But both worked fairly well, and you can see that glitter glue I put on there for a little bit of an attractant. Gonna try my little golden glitter lure. Nice. What a thing of beauty. I liked Sparkle's idea, so I got some glitter and made this lure as well. I'm just amazed at how small a fish will go for that size lure. This creek chub loved my sparkle bait. Would you look at that, eh? Sparkle bait wins against creek chub. And as a bonus, I caught my green, I believe this is a green sunfish, on a little jig. Nice. I just let it sit there and it picked it up off the rock. Beauty. So this adventure began with the inspiration of this little lure I purchased from Amazon. I've also purchased other lures like this Rapala, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, lure. And the funny thing is, on this beautifully painted and crafted, I mean, these things are exquisite. On this lure, I have not caught a darn thing. But on my little DIY, not so handsome lures, I've had some pretty good luck. My first two iterations, not so much. I was just painting them just for my own interest, and I thought it was just more interesting than the ones I had been more successful on. But it goes to show you, looks aren't everything. By no means, I'm no expert at making lures, and I don't know what creates the best action in the water, but this is so much fun to experiment, and it really doesn't take too much time. So go out there, get your creative juices flowing, go make something for fun, and see if it works. I've seen this one guy throw out a block of wood and catch fish. So don't just sit there, get up, go out, have your own adventure. And I hope to see you on my next Ladybug adventure.